Donald Trump's statement on social media highlighting the persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh and other minorities has created huge ripples beyond just social media. Well, there's no doubt, viewer, that Trump's words are clearly aligned with his bid to opportunistically court the Indian-American vote as the US election cycle heats up. But it also holds greater significance that cannot be ignored. By raising the issue of the persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh publicly, Trump has embarrassed a near worldwide silence about what minority Hindus and others have been facing ever since the military-supported Muhammad Yunus government was installed in Dhaka. Please note, I don't say came to power, I say was installed in Dhaka. Well, Trump has his own selfish electoral reasons, but what Trump has done is bring the plight of Bangladeshi Hindus into mainstream global international discourse, becoming only the second world leader after India's own Prime Minister Narendra Modi to do so. Well, this move has inadvertently put pressure on other world leaders, many of whom have maintained either a total silence or issued meaningless, woolly, broad banalities about tensions in Bangladesh. The issue of religious minorities facing persecution in Bangladesh has become the continuing subject of a near total suppression by the international media, foreign governments, human rights organizations and activists, fact checkers, even the Indian opposition, which has completely refused to acknowledge it, all keen to ensure an unblemished few months at least for the new Yunus government in Bangladesh, despite unignorable evidence of persecution. Whether it was discrimination during flood relief in Bangladesh or shocking anti-Hindu rules during Durga Puja, to an unending litany of incidents in the hinterland of Bangladesh, the Muhammad Yunus government had counted on a global, agenda-driven conspiracy of silence to navigate at least his first year in office. Well, if Modi's repeated raising of this issue broke this silence, Trump's statement now smashes that silence that has surrounded these cases of violence, harassment, and social marginalization faced by Bangladeshi Hindus and explained away as a backlash against the Awami League by the Muhammad Yunus government. Even now, as we speak, that group, Sheikh Hasina's Awami League, has been banned from participating in any elections in Bangladesh. So much for freedom and democracy in that country. Well, this silence over the persecution of minority Hindus and others in Bangladesh from global leaders has often been interpreted as a tacit denial of the situation, suggesting an unwillingness to intervene or speak up. In contrast, Trump's decision to spotlight the persecution subtly implies that these instances of violence are not isolated or exaggerated, but rather serious enough to warrant international attention. Now, one is very tempted to dismiss Trump as a cartoonish opportunist, simply stirring the pot for Indian votes in the election season, which is all completely true, as a matter of fact. Or you can also acknowledge that, cartoonery aside, Trump has been US president and could very well be US president again after this election. And therefore, his words cannot simply be sidestepped and dismissed. I know what you're thinking. Trump's message is undeniably politically motivated, aimed at resonating with the sizable and influential Indian American community, particularly those who feel strongly about Hindu rights worldwide. This demographic has been growing in its political involvement and has increasingly rallied around candidates who address their concerns about Hindu issues abroad. His statement may therefore be seen as a calculated maneuver designed by Trump to foster affinity with Indian American voters, a group that played a notable role in the last election cycle and could prove crucial in closely contested states where things go down to the wire. Yet the strategic timing does not diminish the broader implications, I humbly submit. By speaking out, Trump has exposed the hypocrisy or reluctance of other leaders, including the current US leaders, who, despite championing human rights in general, have avoided condemning these targeted persecutions of minority Hindus and other communities in Bangladesh. This silence from the global leadership may stem from various factors: geopolitical alliances, complicity in what has happened as far as the regime change in Bangladesh is concerned, diplomatic sensitivities, or simply the prioritization of economic relations over human rights issues. In India's case, the opposition's silence is explained by the fact that Sheikh Hasina, the leader in Bangladesh who was bundled out, was seen to be close to Prime Minister Modi, and therefore domestic political compulsions meant that the Congress party, Rahul Gandhi, and a litany of others stayed a long time before they actually had anything to say about the persecution of Hindus in Bangladesh. However, Trump's tweet, regardless of its intent, has opened a conversation that simply cannot be easily dismissed. Donald Trump wades into the Bangladesh communal tension issue in his Diwali message. The Republican nominee condemned barbaric violence against Hindus and other minorities in Bangladesh and criticized US President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris for their handling of the situation. Trump accused Harris, his Democratic presidential rival, and Biden of ignoring Hindus worldwide and in the United States. He promised that under his administration he would protect Hindu Americans from the quote-unquote anti-religion agenda of the radical left. The statement comes amidst targeting of Hindus in Bangladesh after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina from power, an issue that has largely drawn silence from world leaders apart from Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In July and August, several members of the Hindu community in Bangladesh were assaulted and their properties and shops were vandalized by mobs. Reaching out to Indian American voters, since this is, after all, election season, Trump pledged to strengthen ties with India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi if re-elected. The BJP and VHP have welcomed the message from Donald Trump.
एक बड़ी अजीब विचित्र विडंबना है देश की और दुनिया की कि जब हिंदुओं के ऊपर हमले होते हैं, हिंदुओं को सताया जाता है, तो न सिर्फ बाकी वर्ल्ड लीडर्स जो है ना चुप्पी साध लेते हैं, अपितु साथ ही साथ उस ऑपरेशन को ऑपरेशन नहीं माना जाता, उसको उत्पीड़न को उत्पीड़न नहीं माना जाता, ऐसी खबरों को छुपाया भी जाता है. तो ये स्वागत कदम है.
नरेंद्र मोदी दुनिया के पहले ऐसे ग्लोबल लीडर थे जिन्होंने बांग्लादेशी हिंदुओं पर हो रही रिलीजियस एट्रोसिटीज के खिलाफ खुलकर बोला था, और उनके कॉल के बाद वर्ल्ड लीडर्स इस पर बोलना शुरू हो चुके हैं. Whereas domestically, our vote bank politicians of India Alliance, in particular Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Vadra, are absolutely silent.
Kamala Harris has also shared her Diwali greetings. In a video posted on social media, Harris wished everyone celebrating the Festival of Lights, which marks the victory of good over evil. Bureau Report, India Today.